everyone. Welcome to a brand new edition of the Triple Trail, a weekly look at all things Hong Kong racing and a little look through the lens at global racing as well. I'm joined by the best form analyst in the business in Clint Hutchison. We've got the golden boy, the Hall of Famer in Shane Dye, and also a very special co-host in future trainer in Hong Kong in Dave Eustace. Firstly, Hutch, I love the fact that you brought a friend today.
Yeah, I don't have many, so it's good to see Dave in. And look, it's been a bit of a topsy-turvy week. We've got a huge weekend next week of racing. Saturday in Hong Kong this weekend, so let's hope that we can keep the momentum going.
Dave, welcome to the Triple Trio, mate.
Thanks for having me on, lads. Looking forward to it.
You must be that excited about getting ready to go to Hong Kong.
Yeah, look, to be honest, I'm itching to get going now. It's been a few months and a few months of not training, and that's long enough. So go in a couple of weeks and raring to go. Yeah,
for a workaholic, that is hard for him to do. Golden Boy, welcome to what should be a big show.
It will be, but what about looking at you three? It looks like there's a rose between two thorns sitting there.
Oh, hang on. So he's a rose?
Shane.
I like it, Shane.
Yeah, I knew you would, Clint. I'll tell you what doesn't suit. Here, no here.
Oh.
It doesn't go. It should go no here, no.
He's always quick to give me a whack, isn't he? But I still love him. Champions Day next week is going to be absolutely unbelievable. We'll talk about that. We'll dissect the wonderful career of Dave Eustace and look forward, of course, to him starting over in Hong Kong. There's got a lot to reflect on. Nicole Purton with a special piece as well. Stacks of winners for Saturday, all the usuals. But first, let's reflect on a big week last week from the great man.
It's Mr. Good Vibes, Good View Glory, and Urban Triumph is joining in. Gangnam Star comes through. Still Mr. Good Vibes, Urban Triumph and Gangnam Star, but it's going to be Urban Triumph from Gangnam Star. Kaholo Angel set upon them and swept on by Wings of War. He runs on as a minor prize only, but Kaholo Angel, big win. Wide apart, and they have it between them. California Touch and Car Ying Cheer inside, still in front and one. California Touch has run them ragged.
Beautiful work there from Hutch. The queue paid in excess of $20 as well.
It did. We didn't have a lot of winners, but we had a few that were big prices, which was really nice. And Matty Chadwick there, he dropped the stick, so little slap down the neck to keep the momentum going.
Keep things going. What about, you watch the races obviously a lot at the moment.
Yeah,
the difference between Sha Tin and Happy Valley, trying to get horses that can compete at Happy Valley versus Sha Tin?
Well, it's amazing how much the races change complexion at Happy Valley so quickly, isn't it? Obviously huge amount of it is pace related, but Sha Tin is a track that, I feel like you could get used to pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Nice big fair track, but Happy Valley, watching a lot of the racing there, and it just changes shape so quickly, doesn't it?
It does.
Obviously, you've got your undulations as well, so it'll take a bit of time for me to work it out.
Yeah. Hey Shane, what about that track on Wednesday? It was a strange sort of. I wasn't sure if there was a pattern. We had a lot of horses sit three wide without cover, a couple of leaders. It looked quite loose, and there was a lot of kickback. The times are okay, but it was a track where I found it hard to get a grip on.
Someone said Huey shouldn't have come out on that horse in the straight, and if he stayed in, he would have won. But I don't blame him for that. Because before that race, I was looking for things coming home down the middle of the track off the pace. So Huey actually did the right thing. It was just unfortunate the other horse kicked on the inside, and it made it look a little bit worse when it shouldn't have. The second horse. It was hard to find a pattern because, as you said, they were winning three deep off the pace and then a couple of leaders run. I just wrote it down as fair. Did they roll the track? I didn't check that.
Yeah,
sometimes
I believe they did. I believe they did.
Sometimes when they roll the track will change, right? So early in the night it was down the middle, and then you had those couple of winners mid to mid race. Was it race 5, race 6, race 7 or something? Sometimes when they roll the track, then it can change a little bit. So that might have happened.
I think what might have been the case, it might have been a little looser than normal. You know, though we've had that sort of this time of year, but some horses seem to really like it and get through it okay, and others didn't. But interesting meeting. A couple of nice winners. I'll be sticking. I agree with you. I think going back to the inside for California Touch, he might have been on worse ground, but still won well.
Still won well, and at a big price as well. Let's burst out of the gates. As we burst out of the gates, let's reflect on an incredible moment in the Sydney Cup with a horse, Dave, you would know, your brother probably did the preparation to bring him over here in Circle of Fire, and the great story we spoke to Andrea Atzeni on this show last week. This was a really special moment, mate, and a really good horse.
Yeah, wonderful scenes. You know, fantastic for Andrea, and he's been very, very supportive of Stefano's family, and I know obviously everyone knows how close he was to him, so I thought it was, you know, a magic moment on a pretty amazing day in Sydney, and a huge effort from the horse.
Yeah.
I mean, I must say, watching it live, I thought this horse can't win.
No.
You know, he over-raced, he was wide, put a huge amount of merit to the win, he ran a great figure, and obviously knowing the horse, he's still a pretty raw horse.
Yeah.
Had a long chat with Kieran on the Sunday after the race, and he's still developing physically, and I think he's a very exciting stayer, obviously, for the Melbourne Cup in November, and you know, all roads will lead to that.
Yeah. And Shane, you spoke to Andrea pre-race about, you know, it all, and said, look, he might, you know, that 3-wide line looked pretty certain for him, but it was a big win all the same.
Huge win. I thought he couldn't win where he was, but it just goes to show, as I said on the show last week, sometimes 3 wide isn't a bad position to be, and you can't do anything about it. But sometimes jockeys try and correct it and push forward when they shouldn't, or go back when they shouldn't. And sometimes you're just better off letting your horse there in stride and running into the race as he did. So he did the right thing and didn't push forward or go back. And the horse, it was a huge win. He's definitely a Melbourne Cup horse on that run.
I was going to ask you about that, Shane, because, you know, the Sydney Cup, Melbourne Cup form doesn't always line up, does it? But I tell you what, that's the best Sydney Cup win I've seen.
No, it doesn't. I totally agree. But then you get horses like Doremus. I beat him one year on Tie the Knot by a neck, you know, and he come out and he's a Melbourne Cup horse. Of course, he won a Melbourne Cup and run second in a Melbourne Cup. So some years it is, but overall, no, the Sydney Cup isn't the best guide to a Melbourne Cup, but there's no reason why that horse isn't going to be a Melbourne Cup horse on that run, I would think.
Yeah, and before we reflect on Andrea and Stefano and a wonderful interview with Emma Freedman, just on the actual horse, can you remember you being involved in bringing him out here?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he's talented stayer. He's actually bred by the Queen and owned by the King. Wasn't quite up to, you know, the grade in the UK.
I think he ran in the Queen's Vase at Royal
Ascot. And naturally the King is, you know, he's shaving a bit of his stock off, which is understandable. So Will Bourne, Kieran's bicycle manager, he's very good at identifying these stayers. He saw him, and I spent a couple of months with him, and you know, he's a very impressive stayer. He's a good moving horse, and has still got, you know, a lot of strengthening to go. So I think the future looks very, very bright for him. I mean, back to the Sydney Cup, I think, you know, since I've been here anyway, most of the time the races ran on, you know, very, very heavy ground, and I think that is quite often why the form doesn't translate, whereas it was ran on pretty good ground this year, and you rarely see a horse win the race like that as well. So I'd be surprised if he doesn't measure up in a cup.
Yeah, congratulations for the role that you played and your brother played. He is a special horse, and a really special scene at Royal Randwick when Emma Freedman from our 7 team moseyed on up to Andrea Atzeni, and this is how you respond to a heart-warming moment.
This is my first time riding in Sydney, and I've been here 3 times in the last 3 weeks. First 2 times, unfortunately, not for good reason. First time I went to Canberra to see Stefano while he was still with us, and I spent about 15 hours with him. And then I left because I was obviously riding in Hong Kong the following Sunday, and then unfortunately I got the bad news that Stefano left us. You think you prepare for something like this, but when it comes to it, you never prepare. It's very tough. I must say, unbelievable the family are really to be here today. That's tough. It must be very tough for them to be here, and it takes a lot of doing, and for them to be here, and because I came, and I must say it's over for them, and obviously I've been speaking to his parents and Eleonora, which is Stefano's sister, every single day, and one thing I must say, they can't talk highly enough the way they've been treated here in Australia. Starting from the doctors to the nurses, people in racing, and Tony he's been great to them, helped them all the way through. And it's tough when you're away from family and everything. You know, they've been here for just over 3 weeks. And hopefully Stefano can go home next week, and it'll be great for him to go back.
Oh, Andrea, he was absolutely brilliant. Just brilliant, paying tribute to Stefano, and the scenes after the race were absolutely superb. Back to Hong Kong, the first Griffin race of the season.
Yeah, there was, Richo. So I just wanted to sort of just let people know and understand as well a little bit about the Griffins. But good race. It actually rated pretty well there. So we can get a real big spread in terms of quality through Griffin ranks. And basically it's the Northern Hemisphere 3-year-olds that are run race tackling the 2-year-olds from the Southern Hemisphere. And there's a little weight allowance between the two. Now, just for those who aren't sure, so in Hong Kong they're called Griffin races. We wouldn't race 2- and 3-year-olds here per se on racehorses, but that's what they do in Hong Kong. Early on there was a real sort of domination, I think, by the 2-year-olds, and these are all the stats. I won't read them all out, but in recent years it's switched around a little bit. I suppose they've educated, maybe brought a little bit better out of the Northern Hemisphere, but still those 2-year-olds from the south, this hemisphere are still winning 60% overall. So it shows you, the precociousness, and that maybe it's the weight, maybe they've had a better prep down here. I'm not sure. And you know what, Shane, your name makes this list.
Oh,
as well,
hello,
mate.
21%.
5th best all-time Griffin winner as far as the riders are concerned.
Mate, there's none better than me in Australia, so it doesn't surprise me.
I wanted to say a very special thanks as well.
Hang on, quote unquote, there's none better than me in Australia. That doesn't surprise me.
I know.
Only 6 champagne steaks in about 12 years, 6 sires in about
please.
4 slippers in no time.
Hey, for all of that, Shane, I'm surprised you don't have more photos on the wall. I've been to where you stay on the Gold Coast penthouse. I'm surprised you don't have all the pictures on the wall and...
No. I don't. That part of my life's gone. I haven't got one scrapbook, one photo, one video, anything. I gave it all to my mum. She stored it all. I don't need it. I don't want it. My life's moved on, and I'm on stage 2.
He looks forward. Special thanks to Sahil, of course, who does all the race quant stuff for us. So thank you.
And just quickly on that, so Dave, for you to build your stable, are you bringing any Northern Hemisphere horses here?
Yeah, I've got a couple that are set to move, and the majority of them are down here to begin with.
Right,
I think, the stats, it's just one stat, but it does show that probably horses will just hit the ground running that bit quicker from here. And I think it is largely the system is fairly similar with barrier trials, and flicking in and out of work and just getting that grounding on probably firmer tracks as well. So it's the obvious pool for me to look at, but by all means I'll be looking in Europe as well, and I'm looking in Europe too.
Yeah.
So.
Well, all that said as well, California Spangled came through the Griffin ranks. He's the best one they've had, and he was Northern Hemisphere, so they've done pretty well with him.
And Vincent Ho's back, so we were so pleased to see this, considering the injury he had. He's one of our absolute favourites here.
Well, he's a local star, isn't he?
Yeah.
He is a superstar rider, no doubt about it. So it was brilliant to see Vincent back. And what surprised me, Shane, I suppose, he's had those little gaps off. He got injured in Japan, came back, he was riding, and he got, but he came back riding so well. Usually it takes him, I've noticed, most sportsmen a few weeks to get back into that rhythm. He had another bad injury, similar injury, and he's come back and he's done the same again. So he can flick the switch pretty quick.
Yeah, but he's very popular. He's, as I keep saying on the show, you wouldn't get a nicer person, Clint. And he's a great ambassador for Hong Kong racing, being one of their own. So he's always going to get the rides when he comes back. And, of course, he's got the ability to show what he can do when he comes back and he's fit.
Yeah, we know the talent he's got. And during the week, he caught up with Nicole Purton.
Yeah, body felt good. I've been training very hard since, 2 weeks after the injury. Because, of course, I hurt my neck and my finger, but it's, I don't need to train that. So, I trained that like a month after. But first month, I can still train my upper body and my lower body and the cardio, of course. So fitness hasn't dropped too much. And, of course, been 3 months, and the weights have I gained like 3 to 4 pounds in 3 months, but not too bad. Generally, still can maintain some sort of weight. Of course, once we've been in the heat under a lot of rides, I'm sure the weight's gonna come down again. But apart from that, everything feels good. Strength is good. the mind on the horses is amazing, because I just want to be back as soon as possible, and just felt like I haven't left, actually.
And back with a Sha Tin double, brilliant. Hey, I tell you what, it's getting close at the top of the table in the trainers. Pierre Ung better watch out. He's got to get a move on here, because Francis is making a big move.
Definitely, and well, here's King Miles' third career start. Huey was a lot more patient on him, Shane, the other day. He went back instead of going forward and seemed to make the difference. We will reference the runner-up shortly, but King Miles is good and a nice progressive horse too.
Yeah, it's interesting this weekend, just having a quick look, because Francis has got a couple of very good runners. Of course, Pierre's got some nice chances, but he's got less runners looking at this Francis, but they're actually better.
Yeah, so Zach's off and away. He will be winning, 91 wins, Karis Teton. And so the podium is set for the jockeys, but a lot can change from a training point of view. And Casper Founds, 1,100 Hong Kong winners during the week. Brilliant.
Yep, and it was probably apt that it came at the Valley, because, you know, he does love to race his horses there with tremendous success. Kahalo Angels, another former Griffin as well, and look, he's gone on with the job pretty nicely. This is a big win, 3 wide. I mean, they don't normally do that, so that makes me wonder a bit about the track, but over race, lugged out Shane, 3 wide, no cover off midfield, and rallied strongly. So it was definitely not the normal Valley track, that's for sure, but he was very good all the same.
I totally agree, and it was hard to find during the night because it changed. One race they were all deep coming down the outside, as we discussed before, then they were on the fence. So it was quite difficult to find the right horses to back in every race.
It's going to be so competitive, Dave, for you. Have you set a target for the first season? Do you look at, say, Jamie Richards, 24 winners for this season, or Mark Newnham, 19, to get a bit of a guide as to where you should hit first season?
Yeah, look, it's a guide. I don't think you can, set targets. It's you know, I've got very little to compare it with, I suppose. You're setting into a jurisdiction that you're very much sort of finding your feet, but you sort of set mini targets just in your mind of probably just number of horses I'd like to start with. If I can start with 25, 30 horses, I think it just gives you a good chance of having some early runners. Mark trained a double on his first meeting, and that's a pretty good way to get your monkey off your back. So I'd certainly take that. It would just take pressure off yourself. As soon as you have that first winner, we all know it's going to be tough, and there'll be the microscope will be on you straight away. So I'd just love to get a winner early, really, to settle the nerves, and hopefully
the key, isn't it? Getting the numbers in as well. That's what Dave said. Getting the numbers in, it'll take some time, but if you could probably end the season with a full stable, you would have done really well. Yeah, look, I'd be delighted if I can do that. So because the horse numbers sort of do need to pick up a touch. So. Which hopefully, when the ballots come out, permits come out, in June, we can start building on that.
So you understand the system well. Obviously, you've got family there in the past. You understand the system, and it also comes down to a fair bit of marketing. I mean, the Eustace name's famous in the UK. You made it famous in Australia with hard work, so now that's the next job. Yeah, sure. Look, of course, I'm starting at zero, and that's exciting.
Awesome. You've got to build a stable, and you're only going to do that by meeting as many people as you can, and I think I've got the benefits of being able to source horses with great contacts in Europe and in Australia and New Zealand. So I really think that's a big plus. There's plenty of trust there. So hopefully I can get that across to the owners when I come and source the right horses, which is the key. You've got to find the right horse.
Take anyone with you? Do you take a right-hand man or someone that you can rely on?
No. Well, I think. Down the track, yes, you can employ someone. I don't think it's certainly not your assistant. Assistants is a local.
If you need a chauffeur on occasions or someone to shine the shoes,
that's me
over here.
Yeah, that's right.
I thought you'd be putting your hand up, Clint.
He's already conquered Hong Kong.
Yeah.
There's no stone left unturned over there. Let's burst into a Black Booker file. Sweet in defeat.
They're off, and Sugar missed the start by 4 lengths. Then Dublin Star, Sugar fast buck, smart leader. Oversubscribed, lunges at the post, missed. Sugar, that's a sweet win for Alfie Chad.
Our black book is called Sweet in Defeat. Hutch, who jumps in?
It is a number from the previous week. I didn't get too many from the Valley, but I thought Smart Beauty was unlucky and could have nearly won with a clear run. Of course, Northern Beast won that race. But Stellar Express, high rating straight 1,000-metre race. He's ready to win one. Lucy in the Sky in that replay with King Miles. Second career start. That was a good performance. Lucky Touch, I thought, has had 2 good career runs, well supported in the market. Probably just didn't get the rub of the green. Gee, a lot of these Zach rode, didn't they?
Have a look at that.
Sunstrider's another one who settled back in the field. So, yeah, if Zach sticks with all those, it'll be certainly pretty hard to beat. Here's a look at Smart Beauty. He's 3 back on the fence in the pink sleeves, white cap. Not really much Zach could do. He had to wait, I think, for the horses alongside of him to go, Medic Elite. Then when he got clear, the horse from the inside shifts out and just checks him a little bit. He probably wasn't going to get the run anyway, and that was Fox, the horse by Fox Wedge, whose name escapes me. But look, he gets going again late, and I think with a smooth, even run and a touch more luck in running, he goes very close to winning that one, Shane.
He's raced well all season, Clint. Remember, I was tipping him early on. I've backed him a few times. The horse that Teton rode, he reared when the gates opened. That was a very good run. Sunstrider, of course, missed the start, got back, it run well. All those horses run well, and they're all winners. The one in the 1,000-metre, Stellar Express, it stumbled badly when you watch the replay at the 300 for some unknown reason.
Yeah, he took a funny stride, didn't he? And thought it was interesting, Zach sort of came down the middle. There was a run potentially more towards the outside, which I always prefer, but they've run some time there, and he's run into Baby Crystal a couple of times, but that horse has just got his foot on the tail. It'll be hard to beat next start.
So they're our Sweet in Defeat file, but we welcome back a very important part of the show. The Money Muncher is back. The Money Munchers, if you don't mind.
I had to bring this back, Richo, because a couple of them keep getting me, and it's the horses that get me. Now,
Dave, you don't want to ever be in this file, mate.
Oh my gosh, this horse travels like he's going to win by 5. And he's actually on my ratings run the same time every time, and I don't know what happens, but he stops, and when he stops very quickly, and that's 100. Parents Love just ran through the bridle the other night. I don't know. He's in the market every start. You can deal me out of him. He keeps costing the public money. Have a look at this, Dave. I'm sure you probably watched it. Richo, you would have seen it too. How does this horse? He doesn't run a place.
No way.
He's in the best part of the track.
Have a look at him.
He travels well. Cuddle, Zach. Okay, find a length. When he pulled this Persuader, I knew we were in trouble because Zach must have thought...
He's still going to run top 2.
Here we go. And boom, misses the lot. And this is not the first time this has happened with this guy. He'll probably win a race.
You might see him in a set of blinkers next time.
I think so. What do you reckon, Shane? Is he right to be in the Money Muncher file, or am I being
100%. Well, he had a break. And that was his first run back. And, of course, he trials so well because they don't let him off the bridle. And you see him trial and you just go, oh, my God, when that goes round, it'll win. Zach gave him a perfect ride. I've ridden horses like that. It doesn't matter. You just hold on to them. As soon as you let them go, they're going to do nothing. You know that. And he's one of them.
He won't get me again.
Yes, he will. He will. He'll do something. You're not as loyal as I am.
No, I'm not. And I'll jump off and he'll come out and win by 3. I'll cop that. That's the way it can happen, but you can deal me out. He's cost me too much.
It's Shane's time to shine. Genius or slaughter.
The end across, answering the urgings of Shane Dye. Mannerism coming at him. Mannerism has got it. Daring tactics by Shane Dye. He's got octagonal in full flight on the corner. Bold tactics by Shane Dye are going to pay off, and he pinches the Chipping Norton.
All right, Golden Boy, your time to shine. Who caught your eye? Best ride, genius ride.
Well, I could have put a few up there, but I did this for a reason. This horse here normally gets back, and the biggest mistakes, this is DeMello on Winning Gold. If you watch him, he doesn't ride him hard out of the gates. And the one thing I was worried about was him being pushed out of the gates because he had gate 1, and a lot of jockeys do it. This horse is better off back, and he normally races further back, but because of gate 1, he could race closer. The race was won up here when Zach didn't go to the fence. He come off and stayed out, and of course he could race 3 lengths closer then, and he just got up there easy. It was just a good ride. I know it's easy from gate 1, but he won the race at the start by not pushing him hard to try and be 4th or 5th, and he gave him his chance to come into his stride. And then at the turn, he could have come out up here, and the horse in front of him comes out, so he switches to the inside. So that means he's doing no more work. He's saving ground when the others are out wide working, and he cuts the corner, and he's done nothing, and he's about 6 lengths closer. than he normally is because of gate 1 without doing anything. He come out here, he quickened like a nice horse. It was a perfect ride, Clint, and this horse will be winning again.
Yeah, it was a great ride, and I'm sure post-race Zach was probably ruined the fact that he didn't go to the fence because he won the start prior on Young Horizon, and he tried to execute a similar plan, and when the rider behind you takes the run you should have had, there you go. And particularly when Zach then made his move at the 600, he got pushed right off on the turn. I don't think he wins anyway, but...
Clint, he doesn't win, but this is what I've been saying all season, you know? Zach wants to play the percentages, and you're going to cost yourself races. Simple as that. There's no way Young Horizon would have won that race.
No.
Any slaughters during the week, Shane?
No, pretty good. Most of the boys were, well, there was about 5 or 6 in Australia, wasn't there? Probably more. I could name a heap in Australia. Jesus Christ. Don't talk about the jockeys over there to me, please.
Who comes to mind?
Oh, well, I know someone who should have won 2 Group 1 races the last 2 weeks, but never mind. It's only Group 1 derbies and whatever.
He's getting soft.
No slaughters in Hong Kong. They're riding pretty good.
This is racing's highest individual honour. It's called the Idol.
I watch it every week.
You watch it every week, no doubting that. Shane, where did the points go this week?
DeMelo rode that really well, 2 points. Derek Leon gave this a really good ride from gate 10, very similar to DeMelo. Could have put him up. He got 2 points. Ewison's the same as the other 2. Perfect ride. He drew out a bit. I think it was about gate 8. End up on the fence, cut the corner, saved ground, and it's what won the race. Very good ride. Those 3 were all similar. Now, Wong rated this really well, Super Axiom. This was his race to win. They'd been running him in the wrong races over 1,200, which you can't run. Drops back to class 5,000. He just had to win, but he didn't go too fast, and he gave him a really good ride. And he also won on the other horse, Koala Angel, so he gets 2 points. Halem Antoine
Hamlin.
Antoine Hamlin, yep.
Hamlin gave this a really good ride. Drew in, but was never going to get beat from the gate. But it's had that many placings through good rides. I thought he deserved a point. And the last one was... Vincent. He rode 2 winners, and it was good to see him back. And let's hope he can continue. And, of course, he's got Golden 60 next week.
And the leaderboard for racing's highest individual honour. This is what they're battling for, Dave. I mean, have a look at it. Could you imagine that on the mantelpiece?
Bobblehead of Shane. It's the business.
It is.
What more could you want?
Exactly.
Well summed up. And at the moment, that looks like it's going to be on the mantelpiece of Zachary Purton, if you don't mind there. 35 points. He's off and away. Leads by 12 from Karasteen. Hey, just quickly, have you got an association with any set jockeys going into Hong Kong? Have you got relationships exist?
Andrea, I've worked with previously. So when I was assistant to Roger, he was his stable jockey. So we're good mates, and I think he's an excellent rider, a real, feel jockey, and. Shane sort of summed it up earlier when he was sat 3 wide. He didn't force it in the Sydney Cup. He just sat there and kept the horse in a rhythm, and that sort of sums him up pretty well. To be honest, he just doesn't panic. Yeah. So I think he's very good. Obviously, Hugh's ridden some lovely winners for us over the journey, and we'd love to get him on. Hopefully, I've got horses good enough that he can ride them.
That he says yes.
Yeah, correct.
And Zach
and
as
obviously, Zach needs no introduction.
David, it's not a matter of having the good horses to ride. It's a matter of having the right weight, because you can't ride so many that are down in the weights, and that's his unfortunate thing. Sure.
And that's a great advantage of Andrea, is he's very light and is naturally light too, so he hasn't actually got to work too hard at it. So it's a huge advantage, as we know.
Yeah, let's have a look at all things global racing. Global racing through the World Pool was an amazing weekend. Last Saturday was simply superb, and the turnover figures coming through from a World Pool point of view are unbelievable. So what was it in the end? 279.3 million Hong Kong dollars turned over on Saturday.
Yeah, brilliant race day, wasn't it? And what was fortunate was the weather conditions. Dave referenced it earlier. Often year in, year out at Sydney at this time of year, we're dealing with heavy tracks. Yeah. So good to see good conditions.
And the good conditions were lapped up by this horse of a generation in the mighty Pride of Jenny, formerly trained by David Eustace, now just trained by Kieran Maher. And Dave, can you possibly explain this performance by Pride of Jenny?
Well, I mean, she's incredible, isn't she? I mean, it's been dissected very intricately, hasn't it? Watching it live, actually, I was watching it with our vet, and she actually wasn't going silly. And she was running sectionals that she can run and has run previously. She never ran sub 11, so I think I'm not taking anything away from her, and I think people are taking a bit away from the performance because of how the horses in behind were ridden, and I understand completely that has exaggerated the margin, but you know, take nothing away from her. It's a freakish performance. She ran 6 furlongs between 11 and 11.5, and horses just, you know, most horses obviously just can't do that. So, you know, brave ride from Deck, who admittedly did say he had no control after the race.
That's part of the good thing.
And I think that's exaggerated. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you know, brave riding tactics, which Tony Otterbury came up with, you know, sort of 18 months back, and you know, she's very difficult to ride against. I don't quite know how you do it.
Yeah.
Well, ask Shane. Tell us your version of events there, Shane.
Wouldn't have happened if I was riding.
What would you have done?
Well, you know, okay. So on the second horse, they got the tactics wrong before the race. What I keep saying on the show, when there's 2 or 3 chances in the race, you don't go out there to win the race. You go out there to beat those 2 or 1 chances. Yeah. They never did that with that horse. They knew it was going to lead. They knew it was going to take off, but they allowed their horse to get back. So now, whether it's Chris Waller, the owners, or James, someone got their tactics wrong, right? I don't care if that horse gets always back. That's irrelevant when it's a 2-horse race or a 3-horse race. You change to adapt to the tactics. So someone got that wrong. The next one's Craig Williams. Like, I heard him after the race saying, I couldn't chase it because I wouldn't have run in the first 3, right? I wouldn't have run third. I would have stopped. And I'm thinking, I've never ridden in a race where I haven't gone out there to try and win it, right?
But the horse wasn't capable of winning it, Shane. If he chases that horse, he finishes last.
But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. That's irrelevant. You've given your horse a chance to win the race. I don't care what I did in a race.
You're there out there to win, though.
Hang on. I own Mr. Brightside, and I'm saying to Craig, I want you to ride its best chance to get its highest possible placing, which was third. If he chases that Pride of Jenny, he runs last, and I get nothing.
I think you're in there to win. They're all in there to win.
Richo,
if he had eyeballed Pride of Jenny, he ends up last.
He didn't have to eyeball, but I see what Shane's saying. I mean, you've also got to give yourself a realistic chance of winning the race.
To win the race.
They were sitting 40 lengths off.
They were all in a single line. Any other jockey take initiative, go past Craig.
They weren't in a single line. There's a couple that were locked away, but they couldn't do anything. But there were several jockeys that probably should have gone. Yeah. But certainly at some point of the race, you've got to sit back and think, well, we've got to get closer so that we give ourselves an opportunity to win the race. You've got to try and give your horse a chance on every merit.
It's like the people that have backed it to win. Just kicking Craig Williams. It's not his fault.
Yeah, I think essentially they actually haven't carried out. They actually haven't carried out what they're trying to do in that.
The other jockeys,
jockeys. Yeah, so all of them as a collective have essentially got the pace wrong.
Yes.
So it's not like they wanted to ride the race that way.
No.
They've just actually got the pace
wrong.
wrong.
Well, as J-Mac said, post-race, embarrassing. They're going as a group outside of standard, like 12 lengths.
Craig should have been last.
But he wasn't. He wasn't, though. So he's got to make a better attempt. More onus is on the horse leading up the group. I mean, I think you'll appreciate that. That whilst they all, as a collective, come under some responsibility and are culpable, if you're taking the group up and you're letting it just get further and further away, there has to be a little bit more onus on you. But I agree with what you're saying. They're all responsible.
He's riding the best race for his horse. He took the field up to Pride of Jenny in the Australian Cup and got gassed as a result.
Yeah, but he's got. You're right, but he's still got the pace wrong.
He has got the pace.
Yeah,
but he should have been last.
But it's not so much about that. It's not positioning. It's about getting getting the splits right to catch Pride of Jenny, and by going slow and then asking them to quicken, you're not going to do that.
Yeah.
You need to be at a more
He gave his no chance, and so did the others. Shane, your thoughts?
Richo, where your argument is absolutely beat with Craig Williams is the start of the race. He pushed that horse out of the gates and it was meant to be last, and he went forward on it. So once he went forward on it, he had an obligation to take those other horses up to the race, right? Up to the leader, I should say. He's run, if you read that story on RaceNet by Dan O'Sullivan, who's the clocker, they run 14 seconds slower than normal, the second horse, right? So he's got the pace totally wrong. He could have been 10 to 12, 14 lengths closer without doing any work. The other one is, this is where the owners have got this terribly wrong. Isn't the second horse Via Sistina and the third favourite in the race owned by the same people?
Plaster Carousel,
Well, why isn't it taking it up? It's running third with Tommy Berry on sitting there. So no one's told him, if that goes, you take them up. Like, there's no thought, and this is what I said before, there's no thought from the owners, the trainer, or whatever of those horses put into this race. Now, when I do my form in those big races, I've got all that worked out. I know what every horse is going to do, and I ride accordingly. And I'm watching that race, and I cannot believe what I'm seeing, you know. And I know people have blamed James McDonald, but he's not totally fully to blame here. I'm telling you now. Tommy Berry's to blame. Craig Williams is to blame big time, right? And there was just no initiative in the race.
I did read in the Stewards report, just while we close this out, that I think Tommy said it about the 1,000. He felt like his horse wasn't really there. So that probably compounded the issue that, you know, the lead, Craig's on the inside. He wants to ride a conservative race because they didn't want him brought out of his comfort zone. Tommy's horse wasn't travelling well enough, and he couldn't.
Then you go back to the fourth. It's not good enough.
But irrespective of all of that, they've just given too much leeway, far too much leeway to the winner. Anyway, it was poor from the chasing pack,
and it was absolutely brilliant by Pride of Jenny. And I think your point, Dave, is really valid. All the discussion, what has been lost to a small degree, is her elite performance. She is an absolute beauty. Other great performances, Autumn Angel winning the Oaks. This was fantastic gun ride from Mark Zara. So Catherine Coleman gets her second Group 1 in partnership with Peter Moody, a daughter of the Autumn Sun, and she's a progressive stayer.
Yeah, she's an absolute beauty, and they're going to be heading towards a Caulfield Cup, etc. I don't think we saw the best of Orchestral. Zardozi was brilliant. They looked the 3 big chances, and hopefully if you followed us last week, we tipped the Tierce. But here's the race that Shane referenced earlier. A Tissue should have won. Shane, there was a run when we see the drone shot with a Tissue directly in front of Blake Shen. Why?
I don't know what he was doing. There were runs everywhere on the inside if he'd just gone there. Instead, he wanted to get to the outside. He wanted to get to the outside in the Derby last week at the 600. It should have won. He's done the same there instead of worrying about what's in front of you, you know. So he should have won 2 Group 1 races the last 2 weeks. And James should not have won the Derby, and he should have won that, but he has.
Yeah, in fact, he's got 12 Group 1s for the season.
And a Quinella for Wallace. So Chris was happy either way, but you know, a Tissue should have won.
A Tissue, absolutely. Hey, Dave, as you put a close on your Australian career, no doubt the Melbourne Cup. I mean, Gold Trip, that's the thing at the front of your mind as the great moment?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's a day you'll never forget, and he's, you know, a great horse for us. I thought, you know, him backing it up and winning a Turnbull as well was just fantastic. Not many, Melbourne Cup horses or winners do that. So, you know, this is a special day, and to share it with the whole team and Mark, who's a good friend. You know, it was just incredible, really.
Incredible performance as well. I tell you what, we talk about big race riders. Give me Mark Zara any day.
Yeah, agree. He's just, you know, he does the job for those days, doesn't he? And he keeps himself fresh. He has breaks. He doesn't. It's
a work-life balance, Dave.
Yeah, he does.
He's got that perfect.
He's pretty good at that. Yeah, but you know, jokes aside, I think, you know, he knows for him, you know, mentally that's important. It suits him. You know, he struggles with his weight, and that then is going to affect you obviously mentally. So I totally understand it, and you know, he makes it work.
He's married a magnificent woman who allows him one of the longest leashes in regards to celebrating. Off to the Super Bowl with Will Bourne, Sheikh Fahad. I haven't seen you on those trips.
Didn't get a Guernsey. Yeah.
Missed out on those trips.
No, it's always a bad time of year in February. So
it doesn't seem to stop Zara, does it?
Stop Zara, no. He manages,
Off he goes.
to get away with it.
Hello.
Richo, it wasn't the tickets, was it? 10,000 US a ticket?
Yeah, well, I think
that's the other thing. We're not doing quite well enough.
That's about to change when you go to Hong Kong. This might interest some of our audience. How do you go about actually attracting, because the unique owner situation in Hong Kong. So unlike in Australia where you could ring Hutch and I up and say, hey, I've got a horse, boys, you want to jump in? There's only a certain amount of owners in Hong Kong. How do you go about building a stable?
Yeah, there are a few hoops to jump through. Yeah. It's not a case of, finding a nice horse, buying it and then selling it to owners who want to jump in. The system is you have to be a member of the Hong Kong Jockey Club to begin with, which takes some time.
Yep.
And then you apply for a permit or a license to own a horse, which goes into a ballot, which have just shut. So there's a sort of 6-week period where owners can put a permit in to race a horse.
Yeah.
It's a random ballot and that'll come out in June. So as a trainer, you've got to, first of all, have a relationship with someone who's got a permit. So that's hard enough in itself. Then you've got to find a horse and the veterinary side of it's quite strict as well. So every horse has quite a strict veterinary process to actually get to Hong Kong. So it's obviously something that I'm sort of learning a lot about now and have purchased some horses and thankfully they passed the vet. But for me personally, sourcing owners really is going to the races.
Yeah.
Meeting as many people as possible and going from there. And the owners there and the ownership group there are very keen to meet trainers and new trainers and young trainers. So that's the advantage for me is the incoming trainer with a fresh license quite often gets a go.
Yeah, and how do you change your training methods from what you've done in both the UK or in Australia to the tight little circuit and the captivity sort of element of Hong Kong?
I mean, obviously I'm going to have to alter it a bit. Having said that, we've always had on-track training in Australia, whether it was Caulfield, Cranbourne, Warwick Farm.
Yeah.
There's similarities to that. The dirt surface, actually spent some time in America. They train on dirt in America, and it's a good surface to train on. I think the big thing will be the heat and adapting your training to the heat and humidity. And trainers there have been very helpful as well, just sort of picking their brains. And you can see the track work. I mean, the amazing thing is every horse wins. I check what it's done leading into it. So you get an idea of, workload leading into a run. Particularly when they're up and going, it doesn't look like they, do too much in between, which makes sense.
Yeah. Feel free to give Shane a ring as well. He's
it's interesting you mentioned that. But before we let you go, you might want to grab a pen because Shane's always good with advice. Shane, have you got some advice for Dave in setting up his business?
If you believe in yourself and you think you're going to be a huge success, only take around 30 to 35 horses at the start. Do not take any more. If you think you might struggle, take a heap, get them all out there. Don't take many Class 5 horses because you can only have one race every meeting. So you only need 5 Class 5s, right, to get you going. But of course you're new and everyone, the Class 5s are no good. Everyone's going to offer you Class 5s. Sure. If you see Jamie Richards 2 seasons ago when he started, I could be wrong, I think he had 14. Well, you can't run them when there's only one race, one meeting. And that's what a lot of new trainers make a mistake with the Class 5. So you only need 5. And what happens in Hong Kong, David, is you'll start slow. But once you get going having winners, people will come to you. You have a look at Mark Newman now. He's going really well. He started with 30. He's starting to increase. And then you can pick and choose which you want, and you can cover all the classes. So you need Class 2s, Class 3s, Class 4s, Class 5s, more in Class 4s than the others because there's more races every meeting in Class 4s. So you've got to know what classes they are and accommodate them. That's the biggest thing. And a lot of trainers there that go there don't quite understand that. They just think getting horses. But you can't run your horses all the time, when you've got too many in that class. And that's the trick to being successful when you get there.
Great advice indeed. And then once you start to build your business, Dave, you'll be on a heater by the time you get to December. And then guess what? Us three are arriving with a whole group of mates for the Triple Trio Racing Tour, which is an opportunity for you to get involved. Scan that code. Dave, can you imagine this? So the whole week, it's the absolute bucket list. 7 days, 6 nights. Now, 6 nights, not all 6 of them do you want to spend with Hutch, I can assure you of that. No. From the 3rd to the 9th of December, Novotel Century Hong Kong in Wan Chai. I mean, we couldn't think of anywhere else we'd like to go.
Dangerous.
Very dangerous.
In the dark zone.
That's right. There is a 5-star option as well. We've got some amazing events planned as well. We've got lunches and dinners. It is going to be absolutely
I've already
brilliant.
spoken to Dave as well, and I said on the Saturday we're going to have a little lunch, and you've got to come along.
Just a short one.
Yeah, just a short one.
Just a short one.
Yeah, well, you can come as long as you like.
Yeah, that's right. We'll allow you because we like you for a short one, but we'd love you there for a long one.
Yeah,
It'll be a lot of fun. Hey, mate, thanks for jumping in. Simply good luck.
Okay.
We look forward to touching base with you. If there's anything we can do to promote your business, mate, yell out and take us on the journey social media wise as well as you build your stable.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thanks for having me on. Thanks, Shane.
Good on you.
Advice. I'll get your number at the end.
Yeah, he'll take your number down because he's a good resource to have. Let's get the inside word with Nicole Purton.
The world for professional athletes has been a fast-moving one over the past few years, with a rise in sports science and a huge focus on honing how to best train and fuel your body. For jockeys in Hong Kong alongside that, there has been a drive from senior hoops like Zach Purton to improve the support they receive off the track for their ongoing health and well-being. The Jockey Club have responded with a sharp upgrade in training facilities for riders and have also provided them access to world-class trainers and nutritionists so their human stars get the professional support they require. Enter Australian personal trainer Trent Langlands, a man who has begun shaping a new approach to how jockeys keep themselves in the right shape to be their best in the saddle. So Trent, what is your role within the Jockey Club and how did it come about?
It all started from Huey Bowman actually, back in Sydney. We've been training for years and just got the ball rolling and got in touch with the club and said, look, you know, we've got a physio on board now, and you know, let's keep it going and see if we can get you know, some training done also. And at the same time, they were talking about putting in a little gym or whatnot. So it was like the perfect storm.
Trent, what's your philosophy and how does it differ from how jockeys or people in general have traditionally worked out and kept fit?
Yeah, so I've sort of taken what I've learnt and, you know, really studied the last 7 or 8 years a lot of different models compared to like the traditional way of doing your strength training, which is still very important. I just have a different take on, a little bit of a different take on it. My exercises are more of a functional, you know, for the jockeys, high-end stability, balance. I throw a lot of those exercises in using different tools like Bosu balls and Swiss balls and Reformer Pilates and what I've created, I think, over the last few years is just very specific exercises that put them in an environment. Obviously, nothing's going to be like being on top of a horse, but to a certain degree, as I said, I'm always working on things like stability, balance, and which is so incredibly important for a jockey.
And what do you think is the main strength that a jockey has?
Posture and core. Yeah, definitely. I think all the conversations I've had with jockeys over the years, and I just feel that when they, you know, posture's important for everything, really, not just being on top of a horse, but yeah, I think, but especially, yeah, if they're very strong through the core, I just feel that they won't leak energy, they'll be a lot tighter on the horse, they won't be all over the place with their limbs, they just control that, you know, that centre of mass being on top of a 600 kilo animal. Yeah, that's the one big takeaway I always hear jockeys say when they're in control, they just feel really, really strong through the core and they're able to manage a horse much better. Back through your hips and through your heels, okay, when you land. Nice soft landing. Up on the balls of your feet. Get in position. Today we're going to come out, just stay in your hinge position. And just really, feet nice and wide. Post back in your hips, spine extended, and just slowly come in. Just rotate that lateral seam in your shirt.
So Trent, can you talk me through what Angus is doing here and what the benefits are of this exercise? So
I'm trying to morph him into a similar position that he'd be on top of the horse. Obviously his lower limbs are going to be a little bit different, but especially his upper body, you know, just working, well, it's very high end stability, like being on top of a horse, and now I'm just working his upper body, shoulders, chest, tries, just like, you know, just finishing off last couple of furlongs. Just
Solid Charla, and out wide is Montefruta. Robot Knight in front. Solid Charla claims him. Montefruta with a drive. It might be the Fruta. Angus Chung, 10 and 3.2.
And in terms of their stability and balance, like they're just amazing. I've been lucky enough to train surfers, freestyle skaters, skateboard riders, and you know, jockeys. Balance and stability is second to none.
And do you work quite closely with Chris, who is the Jockey Club physio?
Yeah, so it's good him being in here. So you know, he's got people coming through here all the time, and so they might finish with Chris, and then later on in the day they might come back with me, and then like I know exactly what their injury report is, and then I can work around their injuries if they're injury, or as I said, it's all about strength and prevention for them to get a race day as fit and as healthy as they possibly can.
So Keith, before you started working with Trent, what was your exercise regime like?
I've been training with my personal trainer for a long time, but mostly we're just doing the strength and weightlifting exercise. But then after Trent came in and he started doing a lot more like functional exercise, especially like focus for horse riding. So I felt like my core is stronger, and even when I'm on the horse, I just felt like my whole body is more engaged.
Master of All is the leader over Moore Rice, running on through the centre. Yi Chong Warrior, general winner with a late run too, but Master of All has a lead, a winning lead. Master of All has beaten home general winner Keith Young and Chris So. They've been teaming up for early race wins a little bit of late.
Do you feel like this is something that could become quite popular and you could implement as a workout style, like the jockey workout? Yeah,
if people want to test themselves with their athleticism, their balance, stability, yeah, come along and try it, because you know, then you get a real indication of, you know, how hard it is to be a jockey.
Great story there on Trent Langlands, and he has been brilliant in the past in getting the jockeys 100% right physically for the job they're trying to do. Shane, back in your day, did you have personal trainers, sort of sports coaches, if you like?
Not really. They did come along later. When I had the bad fall in Hong Kong, I come back and I had a personal trainer, but I felt it was a waste of time. My body couldn't cope with it, what he was trying to get me to do, and I stopped it. But then I went to Pilates every second day, and I felt as though that was unbelievable for my inner core and my body, and straightened my back up. It was out that much, my back, when she put a computer around me on the videoed it and then put it on a computer. My back was just, oh my God, she couldn't believe it. And after 12 months, she actually straightened my whole posture. And I had to go to an osteopath, which I felt helped a lot for my ribs and my breathing, because I had 32% capacity in my lungs, and she got me to open up again my lungs and breathing. But in the gym, they're trying to get me to do all these exercises to help me, and I just felt I couldn't do it, and I stopped it. But most of the jockeys now have personal trainers. I know Ryan does, and Ryan's in the gym every day. He's a fitness freak. He's one of the biggest I've ever seen at it, and I've seen him go. And what he does, I couldn't do a third of what he does. My body would collapse.
Yeah, a lot of them do. A lot of them do it now. They're real.
Oh, you got it.
They're supreme athletes, aren't they? They really are.
Yeah. Well, we've seen that in various sports. You know, Tiger Woods revolutionised golf by getting fit and strong. Kelly Slater was the first surfer ever to actually get a personal trainer and start doing gym work, and then he's won X amount of world titles. So revolutionised the sport.
I like the Jimenez.
Richo,
I like the Jimenez approach better. The cigar and the red wine.
Richo,
we can go with that.
Yes, my friend.
In your day, did Ben Johnson have a personal trainer?
Yeah, he did. He had a coach by the name of Charlie Francis.
Because he was very beefed up.
Yeah, by gee, yeah, I raced him once. I didn't see him much after the first step. Gone. All right, let's find some winners on Saturday at Sha Tin. Saturday at Sha Tin is our focus. Hutch, can I start you in race 3, please?
Yes, you certainly can. Now, this is a clash or a reclash, I suppose, of a couple of horses that have met recently. I'm with Victory Moments now. It's not the Purton factor. It's more so that I think there was a lot of merit in his last effort and a minor swing the weight. Sing Dragon will be hard to beat. Reward Smile is in the mix as well in the third event. But look, this horse has been racing really well, Victory Moments. He sat back, he closed off well. The pace of the race, Shane, actually suited Sing Dragon. It was sort of a sprint from the 600, so he had to build Victory Moments. He covered a bit of extra ground and then he just peaked late on his run. So look, it'll be a good clash again, but I just think a slightly better race shape and Victory Moments can turn the table.
I agree. I've got him on top. There's 5 pounds difference. Look, pace is similar to there, but I think Hong Kong Hall is in it, so he might go from inside the gate. But I've got Victory Moments on top. Yep. For sure.
Yeah, Hong Kong Hall's barrier number 1 for Alexi Bedell for David Hall, but you've marked it a big price.
Yeah, I do. And look, I've got it really a 2-horse race. I think they win the vast majority. Victory Moments, Sing Dragon. It's interesting, Montefruta won on the same card, ran much slower time, but now he drops in weights. He wouldn't be another bad one for your exotics, but he's got a lot of ground to make up on the other 2.
Race number 9?
Race number 9 is a very competitive race. I'm just excited to see Chilby again. Look, I think he ran to his mark at this stage of his career in the Derby, I should say. But it was a super effort. Sweet Encounter meets a lot of rivals better at the weights. Zach Purton jumping on does catch the eye. Little query with him, 1800. I'm not completely sold on 1800 with that horse. Speed Dragon's another one coming out of the Derby, and La City Blanche is a bit in and out, but you never know. Now, talking of Chilby, look, he ran his race, Shane, in the Derby, I thought, but the Derby form will stack up well. I think he's got rating points in hand. He's on a mark of 86 in the official handicap. I think he can get to 100, and I like this form. I think it's just the best form in the race.
It's very good form. This is a pretty open race. I think there's a lot of chances. The best Peach, of course, did nothing in the group race last start. I've got this horse here, CP Prave, running second. A very good chance in this race. He's going to get a good run from his gate. He's going to race a little bit closer, you would feel, from gate 3 or midfield at least. And I think he can turn the tables on the best Peach. But I've got an open race, but I've got actually CP Brave on top.
There's a stack of chances. I mean, Shane's mentioned CP Brave. That replay that we just showed, in third place in the red colours was Holy Lake, who came out and won. There's so many horses here that there's not much between them. You'd imagine Flaming Rabbit will go forward with all for St Paul's in terms of pace. One that might be a little bit of value, Turin Mascot up in grade. He's not completely hopeless, but it's not a great map for him. Packing Hurricane can be a bit in and out. It's a tough one, that race.
Yeah. Clint, what about Speed Dragon? His run in the Derby was good, come down the outside, and he's only got 118 pounds. He makes Chilchibi 6 pounds better, and there was nothing wrong with his run in the Derby.
No, we got him in the numbers too, but I prefer Chilby, but he's definitely in the mix.
6, 9, 12 and 4 for Hutch. We get to race number 10, the lucky last. Hopefully lucky.
Well, it's going to be lucky all day.
Of course it is.
Richo. And this is another race where it's predominantly a clash between 2 horses. Patch of Theta, Magnificent 9, my early rated price. I have very little between them. I've lent on Patch of Theta, but blinkers go on Magnificent 9. He was off the track, 4 wide, no cover last start, clear excuses. I think Stella Swift is an improver. Now, this day, once again, Shane, as we know, there wasn't much pressure. And Magnificent 9 was sort of out on a limb and facing the breeze. So it mightn't have been the normal penalty, but he still covered ground and kept on well. And he gets a good run here. Zach blinkers on. So I don't think there'll be much between them, but I like the winning strike rate from Patch of Theta. How did you see it unfolding?
I got Magnificent 9 on top. He meets the other horse 6 pounds better. He's going to get a better run, and he's got the blinkers on. Now, this might be one of yours for next week, Magnificent 9, and the Money Munchers. Is that it?
Money Munchers, yeah.
If he doesn't win this, he's a Money Muncher because he gets his chance. He's had a few unlucky runs where he hasn't been in the right spot and things are going against him, but it's hard to see him not getting the right run here from the gate. Of course, Patch of Theta is going to be very hard to beat. Nice horse. And done nothing wrong. And one outsider, the one down the bottom, drops a lot in weight to 115 pounds and hasn't gone bad. And sometimes those horses that have got the 135s in class 4 and gone up, they go to class 3 with no weight. They can go a touch better, Clint, as you know.
Yeah, definitely. He's an interesting horse. I mean, he's got upside. He's Speed figures haven't quite been there yet, but he might improve with less weight as well.
Just
on Sky Heart. Just on that as well, that Money Muncher file. I don't know if I put Country Dancer on notice, or did he make that file?
No, you made it up. You put him on notice.
He's on notice, yeah. So we're going to build that file next year.
Well, you've got to put more time and effort into it. We'll actually build a little graphic with them sleep in bed with the lights on.
Yes, correct.
That's right. We want ones that turn the lights off and comfortably go to sleep. Best bets time. Okay, big boy, you lead us away.
Let's go with the best. The races that we've covered. I like Victory Moments. I think it's a really good race for him. So it's a pretty easy and obvious cue. Don't think you even maybe go the exacta because not necessarily a lot of meat on the bone. Montefruta to a lesser extent, but Main Quinella with Sing Dragon, of course. Outside of that, I also like the Quinella Patch of Theta Magnificent Night. Shane likes Magnificent Night, I can understand why. I really grappled between the two, but I think they'll be running 1-2. And I'm going to back Chilby, who, I don't know, I'm not sure what price he'll be. I'm hoping I'm getting somewhere around $4 to $5. If I get that sort of price, I think he'll be a good bet.
Now, Raymond Shane Dye, a.k.a. the Golden Boy, we had a little glitch. All of the best bets have been happening week after week. And I probably over-promoted you last week. You put the pacifiers on and I stopped you. I'd take ownership.
Yeah, well, I went for a $5 chance.
I know you did.
Had its chance. Got actually held up the last bit, but he had his chance at the 300. But the race wasn't run fast enough, and with 135, he just couldn't quicken.
He's going in the Money Muncher file. Amazing victory.
He could. But see, he hasn't had the right chances a lot of times. Those Money Munchers, they've had every chance every time. Giovanni, this should have won last start for sure. If he had stayed in, it wins by 2 or 3 lengths. He gets his chance here. 10 pounds off his back. Gate 3, there's actually good pace in this race, and it's out wide, out from 7. There's 3 or 4 that can go, and he's just going to be in behind, and he gets his chance to win, and not a strong Class 4 dirt race.
Shane bounces back this week.
Yeah.
He's there. He's back on song here.
And that horse is trained by Casper Founds, and I looked with great interest in the leaderboard, and I saw Tony Cruz, David Hayes, and Casper Founds all tied on 37. Talk about bragging rights amongst those 3.
There'll be one.
Yeah, but I'm going to get a call after this goes on to YouTube.
Yeah.
Him ringing me going, why the F and how did you tip mine as a best bet?
Don't worry, he knows that you're a damn good judge. I reckon it's a little tick along.
Yes.
I can assure you of that. Says our best bets. Now, it gives us great pleasure, Hutch, to announce a very special competition we've got.
We're very excited to be going to Hong Kong, and
I know.
It's going to be absolutely brilliant at the end of the year. Now, if you want to enter this competition, there's a giveaway here. So there's a prize on offer, and it's valued at approximately $8,000 for one individual.
This is unbelievable.
This is what you got to do. You got to, the links. You got to click on the link, favourite episode, tag Hutchie's Honkers, hashtag the Triple Trio Tour. Get involved, get an opportunity to win. We thank Fan Fave and, of course, Australian Racing Tours for joining in with us.
That's a beauty. So a favourite moment or a favourite episode,
yep.
Whatever you need to do, scan that code, get involved in the competition. There's all the details there. 1 entry per social media handle. Link us all into it.
Link us in.
And we will be announcing that late towards the end as we build up towards December.
Yep.
That is an unbelievable prize.
Great
Thank
prize.
you, Australian Racing Tours. Thank you, Fan Faves.
And we are going to have a brilliant time.
What's that?
What's your favourite episode?
Well, what I've done is I've compiled a whole lot of moments when you hang the absolute on me, and I'm down to about 7,000. So I'll just make my way through all of those, and I'll come up with. Have you got one?
When you're not on the show, and Clint and I can just hammer you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I think one of our better episodes of the season has to be when we're in Hong Kong.
Oh, yes.
Of course, in December.
That's right.
We spoke to Vincent Ho. We had Casper tipping us Lucky Sway Ness. You declared Straight Aaron, which should have won.
That's right.
I mean, that was pretty hard to beat, Shane.
Oh, that was a great episode, but just to see the whole race day when we went on the Sunday, that's my highlight for the year.
Yeah.
As I keep saying, that was the greatest day's racing I've ever seen. So hopefully it can repeat this year again, and people should get on and go on the tour and enjoy themselves, because everyone that went had a ball that week in Hong Kong that I spoke to from Australia.
And as you saw with all the details there, the terms and conditions, make sure you check them out. Victorian, New South Wales, Queensland residents only due to the various regulations there. Yes. But an unbelievable competition. $8,000 worth of prize money.
We are going to have some fun, Richo. It's going to be absolutely spectacular.
And we're going to allow the Golden Boy out and about on a couple of occasions. So that's worth it alone. Hey, next week's show is going to be a beauty. Champions Day, mouth-watering clashes, sprint, mile, and also the 2000.
Yeah, that's 2000, the QE2. Well, we've got international entrance there. Galaxy Patch, Golden 60. Bring that on. And, of course, Spangle back from Alquoz. It's going to be a ripper with Romantic Warrior taking on Prognosis in the QE2. I don't know. These clashes, they don't end.
I know. So Hutchi's going to do a mountain of form and find a stack of winners. Join us next week.